Thank you all for being here. Everyone's here today because they care about bovine TB. And there's plenty of other things we could all be doing today rather than wrestling once again with this very knotty problem. We're all here of our own free will, and it's something which has caused us all a lot of pain already. I think everyone in this room has had a bit of pain from this. But also, as an intellectual challenge, this is something fascinating and second to none. So this is a very exciting day today. We have in this room probably 90% of the world's greatest experts on bovine TB. I feel absolutely thrilled to be in the presence of all of you. I'm not an expert, of course. I'm just someone who's very persistent and very fascinated with this problem and would like to find a solution along with all the rest of you. Okay, bovine TB. What has happened in the last 100 years, the last 50 years, the last 10 years in this bovine TB problem is that it's still here. And the fact that it's still here today and it's not a problem which has been solved justifies us all being here today. So far, the Mycobacterium has been amazingly successful in resisting all our efforts to contain it. Now, strangely enough, I think belief does come into this. Science is generally thought to be exact, but science is conducted by human beings. And so this is perhaps why we have a situation here, where you have scientists, all of whom have great knowledge, great experience, great integrity, but who have actually almost opposite beliefs about what the available data tells us. Now that's fascinating in itself. I have I am a scientist in a sense because, not a biological scientist, sadly, but an astrophysicist. But I see examples in my own discipline of what can happen. About 150 years ago, the man called Schiaparelli looked through a small telescope, and saw canals on Mars, and he drew pictures of them and went into great discourse about how they could have been created, and he observed how they changed with the seasons. And for the next 15 years or so, scientists all around the world, astronomers all around the world, studied these canals. They also drew pictures of them. They studied how they changed with the Martian seasons. And then somebody got a bigger telescope and discovered that those canals were not there. And they had never been there. And suddenly, no scientist ever saw it. No scientist ever saw a canal again. So what I'm saying is there is a tendency in us all to see what we want to see. And I'm hoping that today, all of us, on all sides and all aspects of this debate, will find some space in our minds to listen and realize that maybe we do have preconceptions. Now, maybe that's rather presumptuous of me to say, but I do hope, and we all hope here, that this is maybe the best opportunity we've ever had to look each other in the eyes and break through any sort of prejudices that we may have and go on a search for truth together. So much energy has been wasted, in my opinion, over the last few years in conducting this polarized debate, getting so ensconced in opposite views and wasting energy battling over this issue. It would be wonderful if the only result of today was that we all kept talking and looking into each other's eyes honestly. That would be a significant enough result of this day, in my opinion. Bovine TB is a contentious issue, and outside of this room we've seen a lot of passion. Passion can be a good thing, but we've seen a lot of people get very entrenched and mud has been thrown. I'm happy to think that in this room none of that will happen. We're all looking at each other with very open minds indeed. I came into this about 5 years ago, and I vowed that I would try to find the truth. So I've spent a lot of time talking to people. All my information is secondhand. I've talked to so many farmers, I've talked to so many scientists, and formed my own beliefs, and most of you know what those beliefs are. But I will try and put those aside today and try and listen to everybody. It's an immensely complex problem, and I think even to this day nobody is quite sure how many factors are involved, never mind how to deal with them. And data is hard to come by, and the truth is even harder. So the spirit of today is uniting to try and fight this very irksome disease. I've talked about beliefs for a reason, really, and And nobody could believe that we would be able to assemble this amazing collection of people on all sides of the debate across the board. Everybody here is decent, everybody here is sincere about the way they're approaching this, so everybody will be here to listen as well as to speak. That's all I have to say, really. I'm not a conventionally religious man, and probably most of you aren't either, but I'm not beyond... it's my feeling that our knowledge of the universe is not mutually exclusive with the belief that there may be something greater than us out there. So I'm going to offer up a little prayer that the spirit of truth and compassion and decency and open-mindedness will be with us all today. And we will go forth from this together with a new insight into fighting this tiny organism, the mycobacterium known as M. bovis. I'm now going to hand over to someone who, without question, has the respect of everyone in this room, and we'll all be very excited to hear what you say. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor and a Lord, and the man who has perhaps had more to say about this than anybody on this planet, John Krebs.